Antonio. How's it
Oh
going?
man, what's going on? Good by yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for joining. I appreciate your time, as always.
Thank you, my man. Thanks for having me.
hmm so first question I want to ask you is, how's your new year going right now?
Yeah, it's not bad, man. Sort of just enjoying some time with friends and family, training and stuff, and just enjoying life back in Australia. But yeah, it's all good here. So far we're only 20 days in, so nothing bad's happened. Yeah, yourself? How about your new year, my man? Good.
Yeah. I mean, in the States, we have like the whole capital thing.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
of the attention's on us right now. But
yeah,
besides that, I think we've been good. We got some good fights this week.
yeah.
But yeah, it's been good on my end. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, nice.
How was your holiday season?
Yeah, man, pretty good. Pretty cruisy over here, like in Australia. I guess you're in Florida, yeah?
Texas. Yeah.
Oh, Texas, well, close enough. But you get what? Oh, you get a warm winter, Christmas.
Yeah, it's okay over here. Like Texas weather is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Maybe like 50s, 40s, but not too bad over here.
yeah.
What about in Australia?
Yeah, we have summer for Christmas, so we get the beach and we go down the river a lot, and yeah, so it's good down here. It's been enjoying it. Beautiful weather. Oh, the weather's been actually so this year, but still, like today's a beautiful day. Just came in from the pool now, so just chilling now, and yeah.
Awesome. Great to hear. And last time we talked, I think you were in Singapore for one championship.
Yeah.
How good is it to get that win over a former champion like Foloyang?
Oh man, yeah, massive, massive. He did a lot of hard work, obviously. Essentially it's a 8 week camp, but it's 10 years in the making. So it's finally. I feel like I've arrived. I've arrived on the world scene now, and it's time to get to work. So, recently I called for a big fight with Eddie Alvarez. So now it's time to get to work and keep this train going.
And we definitely have to dive into that call out. Eddie Alvarez is probably one of the biggest names up there with Mighty Mouse in one championship. Why Eddie? Like, what's your reasoning behind Eddie?
Like you said, man. Like you said, he's a big name, man, and why not take on a legend? Taking on probably arguably one of Asia's biggest legends, and now take on arguably one of the world's biggest legends. So, yeah, why not, man? Like I said, keep this train going, keep on taking big challenges, man. I love big challenges. The harder the task for me, the best you'll get out of me. So that's what I plan on doing. And just keep on moving forward. I mean, yeah, Eddie's a good fight for me. I mean, but at the same time, anyone in that division is a good fight for me. So, yeah, he was just the guy I like. So I thought, why not?
And I was listening to a podcast the other day that you were on. Did you say that you've met Eddie before?
Yeah, I had not recently, probably about when Martin Nguyen fought Matsushima, when he fought Matsushima in the Philippines. I met him there. He actually fought Edward Falang. So he was fighting Edward Falang, and he was there, and I was there with Angla and Martin and Henry. So we went over there to the Sanford guys and Tang. We were there, and yeah, and I was back at the press conference after, and yeah, and Eddie came over and shook my hand and said hello, and yeah, all respect to him. I'm like Eddie Edward Falang. I'm a huge fan of Eddie Alvarez as well. So I got nothing but respect for the guy. It was a respectful call out, but I want to fight him, man. I want to test myself for the best.
And it would definitely be an entertaining fight. Eddie Alvarez has been in the Law of Wars. Justin
Yeah,
Gaethje, Michael Chandler, who's fighting this
yeah.
weekend.
Well,
What do you have like a
sorry
certain?
to cut you off there,
Oh,
but
yeah, go on.
funny enough, that was actually the fight that really grabbed me and was like, yeah, man, MMA is like amazing. When I seen that fight, because they used to have it on free to air Bellator really late in Australia, and I had it on one night. I was watching the Bellator fights, and Eddie Alvarez and Michael Chandler came on the first one, and that's when I became a huge fan of both guys, and also massive fan of MMA. That's when I was like, man, this is legit, man. Like it's not just the brawl; it's so technical and beautiful to watch, and that's when I really fell in love with MMA. So it's funny that.
Yeah, is it safe to say that's your favorite fight in mixed martial arts?
Yeah, probably one of the best. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, fight wise, yes. Fight wise, performance wise, I've got to say it has to be Max Holloway on the weekend. That was amazing.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a
Yeah,
great fight.
yeah. That was.
What do you think about all of his like showboating at the end? Like, fifth round, he was talking to the commentators and just dodging punches. Like,
I
what was
gotta
your reaction
say,
to that?
I gotta say, look, I'm not a huge NBA fan. I don't watch much. I mean, I got Michael Jordan actually in the background there, but I'm not a big fan. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to claim to be a Jordan fan. But you hear stories of Jordan hitting. In some games he was just untouchable. You hear about a lot of. Even the documentary recently they brought out. I mean, that's what Max Holloway was on the weekend. He was just in his element. He was in his zone, and it was just. Yeah, I mean, as a fighter, I could just see I could see what he was running through. It was just like I think in a way he wanted to prove I am that untouchable that I can even look away and still not be touched. And he done it, man. And you got to take your hat off to him. Some people might find that as respectful. I found it as just beautiful. I was just shocked after how good that guy is.
Uh-huh. And he said post fight that he's the best boxer in the UFC. Like we've seen him against Dustin Poirier twice. He beat him twice, and then Conor beat him too. Like, would you say that Max Holloway is the best boxer in the UFC?
Look, man, it's hard to say, with comments like that, it's just so hard to, even these pound for pounds, it's just, any given day. I mean, Max, yeah, you can go and look at his history and say back then he was beaten by, not so good boxers or people who had better hands than him. But, you got to remember he's 29 now. He's really coming into his prime, and maybe he is like on his way to be the best boxer the UFC's ever seen. Like that's maybe what he's trying to say. But I'm not sure. I'm sure he didn't say I'm the best boxer. That's started from the start of my career to now. He's saying I am the best now, and I mean he definitely made a great statement on the weekend to be the best boxer. So I mean, yeah, we'll wait and see, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And going back to Eddie, like a big name like that, do you think a win over Alvarez puts you in like the title shots? Like, do you think it puts you in the title conversation after a win like that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, definitely, winning that even Edward Foloyang fight, you know what I mean, is it wasn't as probably, I didn't get much talk about it from there, but even then some words were starting to be spoken. I'm sure if I beat a guy like Eddie Alvarez, you're definitely going to look at maybe hopefully getting into the top five. And then, after that, it is there, there's a lot of momentum that comes with that fight. And it can be anything. It can be a title shot. It can be a number one shot. So, that stuff doesn't really bother me. Like, of course, that belt's beautiful. It looks nice. It looked good on me. I'm not going to lie. But at the end of the day, man, a world title's a world title to me. You know what I mean? Like, cool. I want to win it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just having fun doing what I do, man. I'm happy to fight whoever and for whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that mentality, just having fun at work,
Yeah.
and
Well,
at the end of the day,
yeah.
that should be your number
Yeah.
one priority.
I came into
How
this
many?
game.
Oh,
Sorry. No, I
oh
was going
no,
to
go
say,
on. Sorry.
I came into this game, with just honestly with the intentions of having one fight to prove that I could do this. And so to me, man, I've achieved all my goals in this game, man. To fight internationally was probably my second goal. And now I've achieved it. So everything's just fun from here on in. So like I said, man, I want to take those big, mega fights. And like I said, hey, one day I'd love to cap it off with a world title. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just in there to fight and win. And I don't care what's in front of me and what's it for. I just want to win.
Mm-hmm. And talking about having fun in there, like how many times would you like to step into the cage this year? Maybe like 2, 3, 4. Like,
Definitely.
what's the activity look like?
Like me, man, I'd like to fight 3 times this year. I want to stay busy. Last year was unfortunate; I only fought once. I'm in my prime now. I just turned 30 in December. You know, I've only got it. You can never say, but I only want to have another 5, 6 years in the game. I want to fight. Make my money. So 3 a year would be perfect for me. Make some, big fights, make some money, and then enjoy the rest of my life. So that's what I would like to do. 3 fights this year, and yeah, see where we go from there.
Awesome, great to hear. And are you like I know you're in Australia right now, but are you like in Adelaide right now, or
Yeah,
like
I'm in
what city
Adelaide.
are you?
Yeah, Adelaide.
Oh, cool.
It's my town. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite places to go in Adelaide? Like, is there like a certain bar or like where can we find the sparring at? Like, what's your favorite place to go to?
I'm not a big nightclub guy. I'm not really into that scene anymore. I'm a bit too old for it now, man. I fall asleep at 11:30 these days. Nah, but I do love one of my boys. He runs a Latino event called Le Monisal. That's huge. It's massive here in Adelaide. People love it. Great vibes. Yeah, that's a cool party. So every now and again, that he does that about once a month, and that's really cool. I go to that with the boys. But for me, man, I just like. There's a nice burger place called X Burger at X Convenience here in South Australia. We go there every Sunday, me and my guys, and we eat burgers and hang out, and we talk a lot of smack. So that's one thing we love doing. But yeah, there's a lot of nice restaurants, and I just for me, man, spending a lot of time with my family and friends, and just being in my gym and just because I got a gym at home, and I just love it. So there's some cool places that we hang out around here in Adelaide, and yeah, just find some nice restaurants here and there. I've been to a few while I've been back. One called Borsa. It's beautiful Italian food that we had there, me and my girlfriend, for my birthday. There's some beautiful food. So, yeah, there's some cool spots that I like to hang out at.
That's great to hear. And, just being in Australia, when your career is all said and done and you have a pocket full of cash or like a bank full of cash,
Hopefully.
what are some of your dreams like post fight career? Like, are you going to open your own gym, own business? What's your plan look like?
Probably one of my things I'd love to do is I'd love to have a coffee shop. I love coffee. I love drinking it. I love making it. Love talking about it. So I'd love to have my own coffee shop, and yeah, I'd love to just continue to pass the message of martial arts on. You know what I mean? It's not always just about. It gets a bit polluted with the whole money and all this sort of stuff. But martial arts is just a beautiful thing, man. It doesn't mean you have to compete and win world titles to be a martial artist. You can just have in your general life. And I love seeing, like I've got a lot of friends now with kids and coming of age, and they're starting martial arts careers, and they're starting jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and boxing. And, I love it. I love just seeing it. So, who knows, maybe one day open up my own club. I'm not crazy about that idea because it's still a lot of work to be a gym owner. Shout out to all the gym owners there, man. All my coaches, guys like Nick Hughes and Leonardo Aruda and Jeremy at Rikers, and then even Henry, Cammy, and Greg. The amount of work those guys put in, it gets unsung. Like those guys are doing so much work behind the scenes to make us what we are, and they don't get enough gratitude. Us guys, we get all the limelight, but it's honestly, if it wasn't for guys like that, we wouldn't be where we are today. Even like my original coaches, Peter O'Shea and Don Mackay, these guys put so much time and effort into me, and now I'm the guy gets this. I'm the one that's spoken about. I'm the one that gets cheered for, and I just want to give a shout out to all those coaches who have helped me along the years, and much respect for all of them.
And looking at your gym, besides you, who's the hardest worker that you've seen in the gym?
In Adelaide or in America?
Well, I guess we could go both, honestly.
Well, in America, I gotta say, man, there's Jason Jackson from Bellator. He has to be the hardest working dude I've ever seen in my life, man. This guy's up at like crack of dawn. He's cutting trees down, literally cutting trees down, getting coconut. Then he's at the gym, he's washing the cars, then he's training, he's sparring the best guys in the world, and then he's back out there working again. So he's one guy, man, that I give so much respect for, man. I get motivated from being around him because he's just such a hard worker, man. And a lot of respect to guys. There's heaps of names. In that gym at Sanford, there's not one person who's not a hard worker. You're not there unless you're a hard worker. So, there's guys like Chandler, there's guys like, Gilbert Burns, Linton Vassell, all these names.
Dustin Lampros.
Pardon?
Dustin Lampros.
Yeah, Dustin. All of them, man. Seriously, that's what I mean. There's so many names. I'd have to get the list out and read them to you because there's just that many such guns out there. Dustin. He's one of them. He's coming up, man, and like they're the guys who are working really, really hard behind the scenes because we don't get and I'm one of them too, man. We don't get the limelight as much as the other guys, and that's fair enough, man. This is a jungle, this game, so you've got to work your way up, and he's one of them, man. He's working his ass off. There's a lot of young guys there that are doing that. There's even my guy, Mike Quez, the guy I live with, Foz. These guys aren't signed, but man, they're working hella hard, man, to get to the top. So respect to them. And then here in Adelaide, there's a lot of good guys, man. There's a lot of young, talented, tough guys here in Adelaide, which I got a lot of respect for, and I love watching their journey. Like kids like Anthony Puglisi. There's a kid named Will. I always forget his last name. He's always laughing at me. Big Brando, he's a hard-working guy. Then all the guys at Trinity, the twins there and Taylor and all these boys there, they're working their asses off to be the next big thing. And I love seeing that, man. And that's why I work hard, because I want to inspire these guys. I want them. One day I'd love to sit back in 5 years' time and see multiple UFC, one championship, Bellator fighters, high-level kickboxers. So, a lot of respect to a lot of guys.
Mm-hmm. And, just talking about the limelight, I feel like a lot of fans out there are just fans of the UFC, and you have all these casual fans who just focus on the UFC. Why do you think that is? Obviously UFC is like the monopoly, but a lot of people don't focus on the fighters outside the UFC. Why do you think that is?
I mean, a little bit off the point is that's why I got a lot of respect for guys like you, and you guys sort of inspired me to start up my own sort of podcast, because I want to introduce these people that the UFC isn't the sport. That's what.
Yeah.
I still to this day people come up to me and they go, "Do you do UFC?" Yeah, and I'm like, "No, we do MMA," and then the UFC is a brand, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So that's why I started my podcast, and I wanted to help educate the Australian public first and foremost. I want to get at a grassroots level. I want to introduce everybody to jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, MMA. I want to show you they're all different sports. But the UFC, like you said, it's a monopoly, man. It was the first one here. It's done a great job of branding itself, and hey, you got to give them respect. Now they're putting on such amazing fights that that everybody wants to watch. But like guys like yourself and all these other Instagram pages and podcasts, you guys are doing such a great job to promote the other brands around the world, and that's what I want to see. I want to see I want to see MMA as a whole takeover. I want to turn on the TV and every channel is MMA, not football and soccer and all these other, no offense, queer sports. I want to see MMA, man. I want to see kickboxing, boxing, jiu-jitsu on TV every day. So that's my dream, and that's what I'm pushing for, man, because fighters, to me, they're the hardest working athletes, and they're some of the most inspirational and inspiring people and characters that I think all kids should look up to. People still, especially in Australia, not in America so much, I won't say, because I don't know the culture as much. But in Australia, we're still looked at as a bit as thugs and as gangsters. Hey, man, we're just hard-working athletes who, we're just as nice guys as any others. So, I really want to push that message to the world, and hopefully, can change the attitude in Australia.
Mm-hmm. And, going to one of your teammates, Michael Chandler, he's making his UFC debut against Dan Hooker, New Zealander. And a lot of people are writing him off just because he was in Bellator for the longest time. What can you say about his rise to the top?
Oh man, if you don't know who Michael Chandler, this is why I enjoy conversations with people like you, man, because we can talk MMA. We don't talk UFC, you know what I mean? I was listening to a podcast below the belt, and someone was saying some stat about Michael Chandler's, I don't know, he's done nothing in the UFC or something, and I was like, there was a stat, and I'm like, well, of course he hasn't. He's been in another promotion. So if these people don't know who Michael Chandler is, well, then we can't have a conversation. You and I can talk, man. Michael Chandler is a freak, man. He is a beast of a fighter. He is a scary dude in front of anybody. And he wasn't at Bellator just beating up on bums, man. There's some real
Benson Henderson, Eddie Alvarez. And he fought those guys twice too.
Pitbull, you can't go past him. Those brothers are animals. The Pitbull brothers, they're great fighters in their respect. But in saying that, Dan Hooker, man, he is don't sleep on him either. Dan Hooker is a real threat. And this fight's going to be great, man. It's going to be interesting because, Dan Hooker's tall, long, doesn't want to wrestle. Michael's short, compact, loves to wrestle. So, to me, it's going to be a great fight. I'm actually more excited for this fight than I am the Conor fight, purely because I really like Dan Hooker as a fighter. I really like Michael Chandler as a fighter, and I think it's just going to be an amazing fight.
Mm-hmm. What's your Mystic Mac prediction for Poirier versus McGregor?
I got to say, man, I've never been on the bandwagon with the Conor McGregor calls. I love him. I like him. I think he is I think he is one of the best to do it, man. I love his entertainment value. I think he's great. He's great. He's one of my favorites entertainers of it in life. He's like an Elvis Presley, man. You can't beat him. So I do enjoy it, but I've got to say I've never really bought too much into his mouth when he runs his mouth. But I've got to say, man, I really do think that I wouldn't be surprised if he takes Dustin out in round 1 or 2. I really do. I think he's going to come in there and he's going to be something very scary, and I'm excited to see what he does come the weekend.
Hmm. And I guess going back to you, there's plenty of fights for you. And even when I think about fights for you, I think of like cross promotion. Maybe like you go over to Bellator, you wreak havoc right there. You
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to Ryzen. Like what is one dream fight that you would like to have in another organization?
I mean, to tell you the truth, man. I mean, I'd love to fight George St. Pierre. He's my favorite of all time. Like, I love that guy, and I'd love to fight him. But even there's just so many. Like, honestly, I have respect for anyone. Anyone doing it, man. I really do. I'm not gonna pick anyone specifically. I mean, I'm gonna say a guy like Khabib too, because I would just love to feel his strength. Like, I'm gonna go on there and be like, all right, Khabib, you're probably gonna beat me. I'm not gonna lie, you're a beast. But I want to fight you, man. I want to just see how good you are, and I want to test myself with the best. So, they're two guys that I often think about, and they're guys when I train. They're guys I think of all the time. Even when I'm thinking of my own opponents, I'm like, man, you got to make out you're fighting these guys because they're the best. But for me, man, anyone. There's so many good fighters in the world, and just because even if you're not signed, it doesn't mean you're not one of the best in the world. There's some really, really talented guys. Like you said before, little Scrappy, man. Like, and he's not signed, but don't tell me he's not good, man. He's a beast, So there's a lot of good guys out there. But yeah, in terms of dream fights, man, I don't know. I don't really sit there and fantasize about who I'd love to fight. The bigger the better for me. That's the way I see it.
Hmm. And I want to ask you about the bantamweight division, just in MMA. I recently put out a post where it's like there's multiple champions of every organization. You have Peter Yan, Mighty Mouse is a 135 right now. You have Kyoji Horiguchi. Who do you think is the best bantamweight in the world right now?
Man, well, you can't forget about what's his name, Cejudo. You
Hmm.
can't forget him. He might be retired, but he's a freak, man. To me, he's just so good. He's just to me. I personally think he's the best. Him or the Mighty Mouse to me are the best in the world. Mighty Mouse, people sort of have stopped paying attention to him because, like we said before, he went away from the UFC. So he's doing his thing over in one, and if you watch him over at one, he's fighting quality opponents, like quality opponents. These guys are coming in so well drilled to fight this guy, and they still can't undo the code on him. So to me, it would have to be out of those two, Cejudo and Mighty Mouse.
Hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I think Mighty Mouse, when he got became like the Grand Prix champion or whatever, he got like a huge belt, and
Yeah,
it made him look small, and he pretended like it weighed a lot. Have
yeah,
you
but
actually
man,
felt the weight of that belt?
no, I never did. But I have met Mighty Mouse, and man, he is tiny. He is a tiny guy. He really is a Mighty Mouse, bro. I'll give it to him, man. Like, I ain't messing with him. I don't want to mess with the guy, but man, I met him we got on an elevator in the Philippines, and I literally was like, oh man, he's tiny. You had to look down to see him.
Nice. Yeah, one of the best. I mean, actually, the best to ever do at 125 pounds for sure.
Yeah.
And one last question for you. I gotta know the name of your coffee shop. Is it like Sparta Coffee Shop or like what's the deal with that?
Well, I always joke with my friends, and I always call it Cafe del Spartan. That's always a joking one. We always say that one. So I don't know. We might go with that. But we'll wait till the day. We probably would. It would definitely be something with the Spartan. And I love myself, so I'll definitely put something in there like that.
Yeah, if I ever go to Australia, I'll make sure to hit it up in a couple of
Oh,
years.
you know it, man. You got no choice. If you come to Australia, I'm coming to get you from the airport, man. Bring you straight to the coffee shop. You got no choice.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to drink the coffee in a couple years'
Yeah, my
time.
man. Respect, respect.
Well, thanks again for the time. Do you want to say anything to the fans out there watching?
No, man, just I want to give a massive thank you to yourself, man. Thank you for all the support. I was going to put my MMA Island t-shirt on, but I wore it yesterday, and now it's in the wash, so I couldn't wear it. But shout out to you guys. I love the respect, the help you guys give me, but also it's for the sport itself, man. You guys are promoting the sport, promoting us guys, so I love that. And yeah, just a shout out to to everyone out there who follows me and supports me through my career, and yeah, hopefully some big things coming in 2021. Let's start it off with Eddie Alvarez. There'll be some fun, and then
Let's
we'll
get
see
it.
where we go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Antonio. I appreciate your time.
He's my man. Respect.